platform needs. And I think that platforms feel, they appreciate that, which, you know, that relationship, that sort of the back and forth relationship we have with country platforms sometimes, that feel like we only pressure them and then they feel like they don't get a say. It sort of eased maybe some of those tensions because they feel part of the discussion. So I just wanted to show you what these notes look like. I apologize, I know they're in Spanish, but they're really short. So what we did on our first call, and this was something that we were asked to do as well, is sort of who were the participants, this is the date, this is what we were supposed to talk about, and then what we wanted to do in our first meeting was sort of set the objectives. Each group says, okay, this is what I think, let's start a discussion, this is what I think I would like to get out of this group. As opposed to me saying, okay, this is the PR working group welcome, this is what we're going to do, and these are our objectives. We started off with a dialogue. Okay, what would you guys like to get out of this subject? What is your situation? How do you want to handle this? And we sort of set the group objectives and how often we would meet and how it would work. So this is, what, 2 or 3 pages maximum, and this makes it easy to read. You spend less time on it. It's easy for our senior management to take a glance at and say, okay, oh, hey, this is what they're talking about. This is important. Or this is what they're talking about, and I think we should do this about it. So we've only had 3 sessions. In the first session was the setting, the objectives and the goals. In the second meeting, I think Illuminate probably would have been a better tool for me as opposed to Skype. That's something that that is one of my lessons learned in this. I used a presentation that the communications department developed late last year on crisis and handling media crisis. So part of that first discussion, a lot of people wanted to talk about what do we do if this happens to us? And I didn't have the chance to travel to each country. We didn't have budget in each country for me to travel and actually do this exercise in each platform. So we worked based on that. And then the second meeting, and the upcoming third meeting, what we decided to do is talk about our different audiences and how we're perceived by different audiences and how that affects us and what makes it work. And it's kind of similar to what Lena was saying, is that we identified a platform that's really good at, for example, handling public relations with NGOs. Nicaragua is great at it. In Nicaragua, the NGOs respect PASMO, the NGOs feel open, they have like a good dialogue, a good working relationship. So I asked Nicaragua, could you highlight your situation, talk to me a little bit about what your situation was a couple of years ago, what you did about it, what worked, what didn't work, whatever lessons learned, and any sort of budgetary considerations you'd like to share with the rest of your colleagues. So Nicaragua highlighted that relationship. In this next meeting we're about to have, I asked Honduras, which is really good with handling public relations and the commercial sector, if they would talk and just go through that same exercise. And then there's this great discussion that happens afterwards. People will ask the person in Nicaragua, how did you do this? Or, I think that's great, I think I want to try something like that in my country. Could you send me what you did? Or how much does it cost really to do these types of activities? How do you improve PR with NGOs? How much budget do you need? And those, I think, are questions that weren't being asked on a horizontal level before. So that's the plan. This upcoming meeting will be with Honduras. I'll have each platform sort of highlight their situation and generate a discussion around it. And I think that it's something that's working so far. There are definitely a lot of new tools. I had a meeting, I was going to have a meeting with Global Capacity Building on some of the new tools. We had to postpone, unfortunately, but I think there are a lot of things out there that will help us. In the meantime, this is something that's ongoing. And I know that it affects a lot of you in the work that you do, because many times you have to be in touch with several platforms across different regions and different countries, and you want to improve communication. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you, and I would really feel great if you had any comments or wanted to share anything, your experiences.
I had a question about Socialcast. I started using it recently, and it was very useful. We were at a training with our department. We were working on our mission statement, and once we came up with the first draft, we posted it on there, and we quickly, like within a day or so, got responses from so many people, including people really high up, like in the C-suite, and it was very useful. But what do you think are the barriers? Like, why are people in your region not using it yet?
I think we probably got notification about a month ago, and then I've seen people sort of trickle in, join in. Maybe it's just about getting started. It's new. For us, it's still new, but I think it's something that we can try. I don't know about barriers yet. I haven't tried it. Something that I felt the first time I signed in was that it would probably be useful if I kept it open all day, maybe like a Facebook page or some other email page that you keep open all the time, so you can kind of see what's going on. Or maybe I just haven't figured out the settings part so that I'm getting the right notifications. But I think it's just, you just have to learn to use it a little before I could say, you know, this is
something
my
you use on a regular
experience.
basis.
On a regular basis.
Okay.
Well, this is a really very important presentation that you've given us. You know, it wasn't very long ago that this organization, in fact, was hostile to collaboration across teams. The feeling being that collaboration required meetings, and meetings were largely a waste of time. And there's some truth to that, I think, that meetings can be a waste of time if the team doesn't know how to work together, et cetera. But there's been a sea change within the organization in a 4 or 5 year period, and there's a lot more collaboration going on. And I think there's a lot more collaboration going on among sort of people under the age of 35 who like to collaborate, who like to communicate with one another, and as opposed to those people over the age of 35 who have a hard time with social networking and things like that. But I'm really interested in your experience here because there are, in the last couple of years, probably about 20 working groups that have formed for various purposes. And I'm coming to realize that it is that the leaders of these working groups face enormous challenges. It's hard to get people together for a conference call. It's hard to plan that conference call.